My name is Kathleen Anderson, and I learned to knit before I was going to the school, so that's coming up on 70 years. Oh, we're in Raywick, on the beautiful west side, and not far from Raywick Beach. Today, we're here and I'm sitting at my sitting room window where I always sit to knit, and it's so fine this time of year when I manage to sit down and knit with a light in the window. And even in the winter, this is my sit for knitting. Well, what I do now is for a long while the most I'm doing is lace knitting, fine lace knitting. At one time it was a very important thing to the women in Shetland them that knitted the lace because they could sell it and probably got a better return when it was something fine lace, and that would all be when they were hand spinning as well. But what they got, it likely wasn't much. At one time, when they were talking to the local shops, they didn't see any money. That would just have been goods they would have got, like their sugar and whatever they could get for that shop at the time. Well, now, when I'm doing a hop, I often like to change the quarters on the hop. So I'll start by designing another quarter. This one here, this probably would have been the first one I knitted. But as the years go on, I'm started more and I'll design the quarters. Maybe the centre will be an old Shetland pattern, but design the quarter. Just on, I say it's me spreadsheets. And I just sit like yon, do it in pencil first, and then I highlight it in paint so that I can see it better. And sometimes I do it in a larger print. So I have pages and pages of it. Well, I have this quarter that I've just started here. Well, this is the quarter. What I do first is do the lace edge. And that's just yards and yards of lace edge, and it's the most boring part in knitting a shawl. But it's good when you get it all done, and then you're ready to do your quarters, and you have the lace for the whole shawl there. Well, this yarn I'm working with, it's a cashmere silk and wool, and I don't know how many shawls I've already knitted off of this cone. Yeah, one thing you should do is make sure that the wires are suitable for the yarn you have. And this is finer, I think it's a 1.5. which is a 15, some folk would speak in that size. But usually I would be knitting on a 2, which a 14. That's what I made them till I knitted the last thing on this, and I just like this tension, because even though, I'm a tight knitter, and as you can see, to get the stitches pushed across the wire, that's a struggle. But that's how I knit, and that's what I like. Because even if you're knitting off a pattern, if you're a loose knitter, you're never needing to use that size of a wire. And some think, if you were a tight knitter, you might want a bigger wire. Although I can see how my pattern is meant to go, and I can see where the next two together go in, and then if there are two together, there has to be a wool forward or a yarn forward, whatever anybody calls it. And then you count again, you're going to knit maybe whatever number of stitches before you do your next two together yarn over. I usually look at my pattern for the start of the row, so I make sure that I see what row I'm on and see where I'm going to put in, start with another pretty pattern. Because with this, you're joining into maybe another pattern on the next row, so you always have to keep checking that, because if you go wrong with this yarn or drop a stitch, it is a nightmare. So this is how my tension is new with anything I make. I'll show you for an example, something I made maybe 20-30 years ago. To me, that is just far too loose. I like things to be knitted tighter, the lacy pattern, because I think sometimes if it's too loose, you lost the pattern in it. But some folk have all different ideas, and their idea is obviously right for them. Well, after you're finished knitting, then it's the finishing, and what I do is grafting. because I absolutely love grafting. And so I graft up all the corners in a shawl. There's the 4 corners you have to graft together. That's your quarters, grafting your quarters together. And as you see, you make sure that you match 1 quarter to the other as you come up, so it's all even with the pattern at each side as you come up to the top. And then for the center, I knit the center onto the 4th quarter. So there are 3 quarters that has to be grafted onto the center. Then I'm grafting in this holly row that you can see there. And it's very important, I mean the finish, you can see things that's beautifully knitted, but if the finishing is not up to standard, then it can ruin a garment or whatever. Well, this is out for the house, and I have a harp on the stretcher here. So when I'm done, finish the knit and then putting it together, you'll have to wash it. So I just wash it in a wool wash, make sure the water is not too cold or not too hot. Wash it and rinse it, and then I'll put it in a tool to take any of the excess water out of it. And then after that, I would take a cotton thread and go through all the peaks, all the way around the shawl. And then I usually start at this corner and I'll fasten the one end of the thread here, and then I'll go around putting this all on and make sure the corners is all lined up, every corner. And then you leave it, and then after a start you might go and look and it'll be looser, so you might have to tighten up this thread on some of these pins. So that's it, and then I'll just leave it on there. No, outside you can, but I'll tack it in whenever, and then it would be on the board for 20 days before I would take it off. No, this is the final stage of the process, and this is really just something I did last winter, because I had all these shawls lying in boxes folded up, but in the museums this is what they would do. So I got it, and this is acid-free tissue paper. It's in between every layer of the knitting. Just roll it up, and then I've made this cotton sleeves. Put it in. And this is what I'm doing now with army shawls. So that's it. Dinna be fair to try, because no doubt there'll be mistakes to begin with, as I had, and probably still do at times, but you learn with your mistakes, so keep on with it.